All right, Algebra 2, here we are for the first video of spring, technically winter 2022 here. This is what you are going to watch and do. I will be collecting it. I learned that we didn't do the best of job watching videos last year when I was gone. So this assignment, as it says, is 10 points, and you will get it in class on Thursday, and you will turn it into my top tray on Thursday as well. If you're gone on Thursday, you can do this and impact some time. It's a 10-point grade. I'm going to go through this little short test review with you. We will pick up with reviewing for the Chapter 4 test on Friday when I see you again. All right, number 1 says, state whether the function has a minimum or a maximum value. State the vertex, state the y-intercept. So here's the function. Remember, f of x, same thing as y equals this. It is a negative x squared. A negative x squared makes the igloo. An igloo has a maximum, All right, so yeah, state whether the function has a min or a max. It has a max. That's your first answer. What's the y-intercept? The y-intercept is when x is 0. Well, then you have 0 plus 0 minus 5. So the y-intercept is y equals negative 5. Those two answers should be very easy to get. Now, how do you find the vertex? It's all about negative b over 2a. B is the middle term. A is the number attached to x squared. Negative b means the opposite of b, so the opposite of 12 is a negative 12 over 2 times a. Negative 12 over negative 6 is a positive 2. The x-coordinate of the vertex is 2. This is 3 out of your 4 points already. We've already got. So what am I going to do? If x is 2, what's y? Well, I'm going to plug 2 in for x. F of 2, that'll give me my y value. Plug 2 in, and that's 7. My vertex is 2, 7, and that vertex is a max. The y-intercept is a negative 5, because when I plug 0 in for x, I get a negative 5. So that question is not as bloody as it should be. We can get that one. All right. 2 through 3 are incredibly easy. State the conjugate of each complex number. Anytime we have solutions like, let's say I have x squared equals a negative 25, we said plus or minus 5i's, because 5i and negative 5i, they're conjugates. 0 plus 5i, 0 minus 5i. Or we had answers like this: 2 plus I root 3, 2 minus I root 3 when we use quadratic equation. I think on the very quadratic formula, on the very final question, we're going to see something like that. So 13 minus 9i, the conjugate would be 13 plus 9i. Conjugates have the same two terms, only they have opposite signs in between them. So 8i is 0 plus 8i. Now you have 0 minus 8i, which is a negative 8i. All right. 4 through 5, write a quadratic equation with the given roots. So if I tell you that x equals negative 3 and x equals 7, we're going to move those solutions over. That means x plus 3, if it was set equal to 0, I would get a negative 3. X minus 7, if it was set equal to 0, I'd get x equals 7. Then I'm going to first outer inner last that. X squared minus 7x plus 3x minus 21. There's my equation. Or, yeah, there it is. Then we can set it equal to 0 if you want to make it an equation. All right. There's my quadratic. If I got a fraction, I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator. Now I have 2x equals 1. X equals negative 5. I'm going to move this over. So x plus 5 in one parenthesis. 2x minus 1. It was a positive on the right. It's a negative on the left. All right. 2x squared plus 10x minus 1x minus 5. First outer inner last there. Excellent. All right. Going to take our time. One of our prime sponsors here, TI-30XS Multi-View, the best calculator in the business. Brought to you by the best catcher in the business. Yadier Malay. All right. Buying some time here. Take a look at the rest of this. 6 through 8. Find each product. All right, find each product. That just means FOIL. First, x squared minus 8x plus 9x minus 72. Negative 8x plus 9x positive x squared plus x minus 72. All right. Number 7, 3x times x is 3x squared plus 24x minus 5x minus 40. Combine like terms, 19x is your middle term. Anytime I have something squared, I can write it twice. 2x minus 7 times 2x minus 7. 4x squared minus 14x minus 14x plus 49. Negative 14x minus 14x. I'm in debt 14. The debt doubles. Negative 28x is your middle term. All right, so 9 through 12 here say factor each expression. So I ask myself what multiply. I can do easy factoring here. I have all 3 terms. I got a single x squared. I can say what multiplies to 30 and differs by 1. What 2 numbers multiply to 30 and differ by 1? Both 6 and 5 do that. The middle term is negative, so the bigger factor is negative. Smaller factor, 5, is positive. A negative 6 times 5 is a negative 30. A negative 6 plus 5 is a negative 1. Check to both. Has to multiply to 30 and differ by 1. All right, 10's about one of the easiest ones. You could see everything's positive. Again, I can do easy, simple factoring. I have a single x squared. I have all 3 terms present. Well, multiplies to 36 and adds to 13. It's not 6 and 6. Even though 6 times 6 is 36, 6 and 6 gives you 12. So 9 and 4, both are positive. The order doesn't matter. X plus 9, x plus 4, or x plus 4, x plus 9. All right, 11 and 12, I have 3 terms present in both, so I want to do some sort of factoring here. You know, it's different than this. You know, if I only have 2 terms, I ask myself, all right, what do they both have in common? They both have a 5x in common, and then I divide it out. All right, I wouldn't do traditional factoring there. So I'm going to do a traditional factoring. It's not going to be what I call easy factoring. All right, because I have a 2x squared and I have a 3x squared, where there's only one way to get 2x squared, and that's if you have 2x times x. Everything is positive. So I asked myself, what multiplies to 21? First off, I'm not going to use 21 and 1 because my middle term, what's my outer and inner part of 4 is going to add to has to be 13. And if I put a 21 there, that's 42x. If I put a 21 here, that's 21x. Automatically bigger than 13. So I'm going to think about 7 and 3. And I just need to guess. Well, if I put the 7 here, I have a 14x. And that's too big already. So I'm going to put the 3 there and the 7 there. I'm just guessing. Now, here's how I check. And why did I choose 7 and 3? 7 times 3 is 21. Positive 7 times positive 3 is 21. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x plus 7x. That's 13x. So it has been checked. That's how it factors. All right, so let's take a look at 12. A negative constant, that's the product of my 2 numbers I'm gonna put here, and then it adds to a positive. All right, so one of them's positive, one of them's negative. I don't know where. I just need to think, well, first off, how do I get 3x squared? It's got to be 3x times x. I think about factors of 10. I'm probably going to choose 5 and 2. Now here is an example of using pencil. Let's say I put the 5 and the 2 there. Don't worry about numbers, or don't worry about putting a plus or a minus. That's 6, and that's 5. Is there a way for 6 and 5 with one of them being negative? If I have a negative product, one of those 2 factors there has to be a negative. Is there a way for 6 and 5 with one of them being negative to get me 13? No, there is not. So 2 and 5 might work, but 5's not going there. Instead, if I put 5 here and 2 there, that's going to give me 15x. That's going to give me 2x. Positive 15 minus 2 is the 13x that I need. So that's a negative 2, and that's a positive 5. All right, I think we can do a pretty good job with these. These are a little bit easier than we think, believe it or not. All right, so 13 through 16, we need to write an A plus BI form. Imaginary numbers, complex numbers time. Guys, I'm just adding here. 7 plus 5 is 12. Combine like terms. 6i plus a negative 3i is 3i. 13 minus 7 is 6. 8 minus a negative 4 is 12. You are not multiplying. Now on 15 and 16, you're multiplying. And you are going to first 20, outer, 25i, inner, minus 12i, last, negative 15i squared. Remember, if I is the square root of negative 1, then I squared by square root is negative 1. I squared is a negative 1. You have to remember that. We can't leave I squared as an answer. So where I see I squared, I'm going to write a negative 1. Negative 15 times a negative 1 is now positive 15. 20 plus 15 is 35. 25i minus 12i is a 13i. All right. 7 plus 2i times 7 plus 2i. That is what 7 plus 2i squared is. Again, pause this whenever you need to. We got a 46 minutes class period, so don't need to rush this. Let's get off to a good start since next week we've got that test. You're going to have 2 10-point grades before the test. That's 20 points there, then a 100-point test before Martin Luther King's birthday. We're going to have 120 points in the grade book. All right. Let's make sure we know what we're doing here. 49 plus 14i plus 14i plus 4i squared. Again, I squared is a negative 1. 4 times a negative 1 is a negative 4. 49 minus 4 is 45. 14i plus 14i is 28i. This covers an okay amount of the test that you're going to have, but definitely not all of it. But we might have gone over the first few days of class, plus a few more. All right, so 17, find the value of c. That makes each trinomial, that's 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, a perfect square. Then write it as a perfect square, like this. This is a perfect square. How do I complete the square? That's what we're doing. I take this middle term, I take half of it. What is half of negative 8? A negative 4. Then I take negative 4 and I square it. To complete the square, I take half the middle term, and then I square that number. So c is 16. That is me finding the value of c. c is 16. Then I ask myself, what multiplies to 16 and adds to a negative 8? Negative 4 and negative 4. Negative 4 twice. X minus 4 squared, a perfect square. Binomial, all right, a binomial that is squared, a perfect square. Then, don't want to do that, sorry about that. I'm going to take half of 16, half of 16 is 8. Then we'll square 8, 64, so that is what c is. c is 64. What multiplies to 64 and has a 16, 8 twice, x plus 8, all of it squared. All right, 19 through 22 here. Solve each equation. I'm going to do some easy factoring on 19. All right, what multiplies to 40 and differs by 3? 8 and 5 multiply to 40, and they have a difference between those two numbers of 3. Middle term is negative, so it's a negative 8 times a positive 5 gives you negative 40. And negative 8 plus 5 gives you negative 3, so it's x minus 8 times x plus 5. I set x minus 8 equal to 0, I get x equals 8. I set x plus 5 equal to 0, and I get x equals a negative 5. On 20. First off, I notice these are both divisible by 3. I divide everything by 3. Then I have x squared plus 16 equals 0. Well, it multiplies to 16 and adds to 0. It can't be 4 and negative 4. So that multiplies to a negative 16. It can't be 4 and 4 because that adds to 8. It can't be negative 4 and negative 4 because that adds to a negative 8. So I'm going to need to move the 16 over. X squared equals a number. I take the square root of both sides. I'm taking... All right. I'm taking the square root of a negative, so I need to factor the I out. Plus or minus I root 16. What's the square root of 16 for? X is plus or minus 4I. Now, one of two ways you can do 21. You could divide everything by 5 first if you wanted to have x squared plus 7x is 0. Then what do these two terms have in common? The x. Factor out the x. X times x plus 7 is 0. Then you get x equals 0 and x plus 7 equals 0 or x equals negative 7. That's one way. Or you can notice that these two have a 5x in common. So I'm going to factor out the 5x. Again, factoring out means to divide. 5x squared divided by 5x would be a single x, plus 35 divided by 5 is 7. If you take the x out, it's gone. 5x equals 0. X plus 7 equals 0. That's how we get our two answers. And lastly, you can try to factor this by guess and check. You can also, if you notice that you can't factor it by easy factoring like you could in 19, or by taking square roots like you could in 20, or factoring out the common factors there of 5 and x like you did in 21, you can use quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So b is a negative 7, so the opposite of b would be 7 plus or minus the square root of a negative 7 squared minus 4. A is 2 and c is 13 all over 2 times a. What's attached to x squared? That's a. It's 2. This is 49 minus 104. Negative 4 times 2 times 13 is a negative 104. So 49 minus 104 is a negative 55. Got to take the I out. So it's 7 plus or minus I root 55 over 4. All right, folks, that is a good length here for our video. Again, when you're done with this, you're going to turn this into the top tray. And that is what we might have to do as I'm gone this semester. We'll see. All right. That's it, folks. This is Yak Math Videos with your first video of 2022. Signing out.